Hey guys, I'm happy to be back with you. I know it's been maybe about a week or so. Usually I have more than one video per week, but we were on a trip. So I only got one uploaded, but I'm back. I'm gonna chew some bubble yum while we talk. I was planning on uploading my trip video first. I started working on it today. But it's gonna take me a little while to get it all together how I want it, do the voiceover, and then add some things to it because my total record time was not as long as I wanted it to be. So anyway, all that to say, it's coming. But once I realized how long it was gonna take, I was like, okay, well, if I want to get one uploaded today, I need to put this on hold because nap time is limited. And I was working on that for like 30 minutes, and then I was like, okay, I just need to go ahead and record and finish this up later. So anyway, I decided to just get to another request. I had a request to do more like trip videos, like trips that I've been on or that we took as a kid. And I had one thing come to mind that I decided to share from my childhood. I think it was the summer of my 6th grade year. Well, hold on, back it up. One of them was a few years before that, so maybe 4th grade. My dad, between 3rd and 6th grade, I guess, about 3 years, he was working on his doctorate, his PhD. And so during that time, we got to take a few trips that had to do with his doctorate because he did the bulk of it online, but there was one time in particular that he had 2 weeks where he had to be in Minnesota, of all places. And so we went with him because it was in the summer. And then the summer of my 6th grade year, he graduated with his doctorate and we went to Phoenix, Arizona. So I thought I would talk about these 2 trips because they were both really fun and both longer trips. The one where we went to Minnesota, we were in Minneapolis. And it was so fun, you guys, because let me say this. I was actually talking with my mom yesterday about how wonderful it is that like certain things are special I had like a nostalgic moment because she brought out these cherries, fresh cherries, you know, that have the pit in them, that come in the summer, and they're just delicious. They're absolutely amazing, crisp, yummy cherries. But I mean, it was a big bag, and she said it was $10, you know, so they're so expensive. And she brought them out, and my kids were eating them, and I was eating them, and I was like, oh, this reminds me of when we used to go on trips as a kid, because like me, and I'm this way because of my mom, she would always get special foods for big trips. And cherries were one of those for us. Like, we did not normally have cherries in our house. They were so expensive. But when we went on special trips, she would get them along with, you know, other stuff. And I was talking with my mom about how, you know, I know people whose kids just have access to everything at all times. And I'm like, so what is special to them? You know, like, what do you have to do or give them that they think, wow, this is special? If they get all the things all the time, you know, like my kids don't. So when we go on trips and we get special foods, it's like, oh yay, we get that special cereal or a Lunchable, or, you know, things that are just more expensive that I don't normally get. You know, chocolate milk, special chips, or different things. So I was telling her, we were talking about how it's so nice to be able to have that, like as a kid, to look forward to things and be like, oh, when we do that, we're gonna get to do this. And oh, this is so exciting because we get to have this special thing on this trip. And so, like, trips and vacations for me as a kid were always so special. Even if we weren't doing a crazy like thing, like going to Disney, you know, like even if we were just going to a cabin by a creek, it's still the special foods and drinks and things we got, like, made it special on top of whatever it was we were doing. So that would for me be a piece of advice to parents. I was looking back, I love that. And of course, as a kid, I was like, oh, I wish I could have a Lunchable every day, or I wish I could have that every day. But when it was a special treat, it became something you could look forward to. And I don't know, I just think that's cool to also teach your kids, like, yeah, we can't have that all the time. Like, we don't have money to have that every day, but we are gonna save up and like do that special for our trip or whatever. So all that to say, this trip was so special because we were going for 2 weeks and we were staying in a suite at a hotel. So that felt, I mean, there were 5 of us total, 3 girls and 2 parents. And so we normally would just cram in a hotel room, you know, somebody would sleep on the floor and we would take turns. But on this trip, because we were staying for 2 weeks, and I'm sure his thing probably got a discount of rooms or something, but we had a kitchen and we had 2 bedrooms. And in our bedroom, I can't remember, we each had our own bed, I believe. It's possible that 2 of us had to share a queen size or whatever, but we each got a bed. And Mom and Dad stayed in a different room. And having TVs and like being able to just like have the freedom to watch TV was so fun, because that was another thing we weren't allowed to do all the time, but like on special trips we could. And so on that trip, there was a pool at the hotel, and we did not grow up with a pool. So when we went to hotels, we would spend hours hours. I'm talking hours at the hotel pool anytime we went on vacation. And so they had a big pool. We like made some little friends whose dad was also there for, you know, some kind of conference. And so we hung out at the pool like every day. I remember very distinctly watching Powerpuff Girls. Do y'all remember that cartoon, Powerpuff Girls? I would wake up in the morning and it either at like 7 or 7:30 would come on, and it would be on for like an hour or something. And I would watch it on Cartoon Network. And I just was like so excited. And one day on that trip, when my dad was off, so maybe it was a weekend, we went to the Mall of America in Minneapolis. If you don't know, the Mall of America is massive. It has roller coasters inside the mall. So it's all like indoor. I'm sure it's way different now. I mean, I haven't been there since I was a kid. I'm sure it's way bigger and whatever, but they had roller coasters, and I mean, it was like a theme park within that mall. And at that time, it was called Camp Snoopy. It was like Looney Tunes. It was called Camp Snoopy. I don't know what it's called now. Maybe it's the same. I have no idea. But I remember that. And we stayed all day. I mean, I remember it. The ceiling was like glass and let in all the natural light. And so I remember remember very distinctly it being dark outside and still riding the rides. We were there all day long. We shopped, we ate, we rode all the rides a million times. I think we did a Build-A-Bear that day too, which was very special. And so exciting. And so I remember that trip as being one of my favorite trips as a kid because of how long we got to stay in the hotel, making those friends, swimming in the pool every single day, having all the special food and treats, and then going to that mall. It was like so cool. Then I'm putting these together because of his PhD. When the summer of my 6th grade year, so I just finished 6th grade, we flew, which was also a big deal because when we went to Minneapolis, we drove. So that was a long way. But we flew to Phoenix and stayed in, for those days with his graduation, we stayed in this really nice hotel. You would know the name. It's a big name. I can't remember it right now, but we stayed in a really nice hotel that had splash pads and pools and all the things. We got to stay in there for a few nights, and my dad's graduation was there. And both sets of my grandparents flew out for that to see him graduate, which was very kind. I remember it being awkward because like my mom's parents and my dad's parents never saw each other, and I remember it being really awkward because both of my granddads, very unique personalities. I remember it being awkward, but my dad's parents only stayed maybe 2 nights, saw him graduate, and then they flew back. And my mom's parents stayed on. We rented 2 cars and we did like a tour out west. We did so much in Arizona. We went to the Grand Canyon, went to New Mexico. We did all these like canyon, Mesa Verde, and there was another something that we did where it was like how people used to live in the sides of canyons, and there were cities down there and stuff that were made of clay. And there were so many Native Americans selling jewelry and selling things. We got so much like turquoise out there. It was so beautiful. And of course, I would appreciate it more now as an adult because, I don't know, you just can't fully know then. I wish I could go back. Hopefully I will one day, but we went to like the Four Corners, which is where 4 states come together and touch, all touch. What is it? Arizona, New Mexico. I'm not gonna make a fool of myself because I can't remember the other 2. But we spent 2 weeks out west, and we would just stay in these like rink-a-dink motels on the side of the road, get up and keep going. So we were just road tripping. And I remember us fighting a lot, like me and my sisters, and getting on each other's very last nerve because we were in the car so much. But it was a really cool trip to do all out west like that. And to do it with my grandparents, that was neat. I remember staying in casinos a lot. There are so many casinos out there. And the reason we did that is because usually casino hotels are cheap, way cheaper, and they're nice because you're going to spend so much money in the casino, statistically speaking, that like they would have like, you know, breakfast buffet included and all this stuff, and they had good rooms and stuff. I remember those being like the nicest places we stayed on that road trip. And of course my dad didn't gamble. My granddad for sure didn't gamble, but we still got to like stay there. And that was really fun. I remember it was like really cool to me to see all the lights and all the stuff in the casino, but I also like feel like I thought that was bad to do just because of my worldview. It's just interesting as a kid how you perceive based on like, I don't know that my parents even said that, but just based on my surroundings and what, I mean, they probably told me that you shouldn't gamble, but I just remember that. I'm trying to remember the other name of the canyon. I can't. But I remember coming back and starting 7th grade and being in class. And in my history class, reading about some of the canyons, and I was like, oh, my family went there. I was just there. I remember thinking how cool that was. It's crazy for me to think about now. Like, I don't even know. I guess I will know soon when my kids are in school, but like what's in history books, because I know that like what's gonna be in my kids' history books are gonna be like my childhood. That's weird to think about. But anyway, yeah, that was a cool trip. trip up north to Minnesota and trip out west to Phoenix and surrounding states of Arizona. One trip I've still not gone on is like to California. I've only been in the airport in California. I would really love to do like a California trip at some point. I think when my kids are a lot older, it will open up a lot of doors for us to be like, oh yeah, it would be fun to road trip and fly out there and rent a car and just road trip, but we are not there yet. We are not in that season of life. But that's okay. That day will come. And it's exciting to think about, but yeah, I loved going on trips. Drew and Ellie Holcomb have a song on their new album that's called Memory Bank. And they wrote that song together because growing up, his dad would always say to them, like, they traveled so much. I'm pretty sure, saw all 50 states and went on all these trips as a family. And he said that his dad used to say to them, like, well, kids, you might not have any money for college because I'm putting all the money in the memory bank. And I was like, I love that. Because going on trips and having experiences together, the memory bank, that is so special. Like having memories as a kid and experiences with your family is so much better. It's so much richer. So you should listen to that song. Okay, I'm gonna go work on my trip video as much as I can before my kids are up. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back with you. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. And hopefully my next video will be about my trip. See you soon.